this class is also in preparation for our Journey Through the Akashic Records, Part 1 and 2, which is also based upon symbols and alchemy. So if you take this class, you will be well prepared for the next two coming up at the end of July and the first week of August. So surprise, it's all interconnected. We have these classes in a certain order for a reason, which you're about to find out. So this is not going to be your standard how to open your third eye class in that way, because this is based on alchemy, sacred geometry, and how to open the third eye with sound, light, symbolism, and specific techniques. We'll go through the general ones first, head towards the more complicated symbolism and chanting later. So it's going to be a lot of fun. For those of you who do not or have not joined me in a class before, I'm Pamela Aaralyn. You can find me at aurareader.com. I'm a Clear Conduit channel. What can I tell you? I work a lot in the ether. Primarily, that's the basis of everything that I do is through the third eye and working through the ether. So by the time we end the whole series of classes, you'll be hopefully having access not just to seeing, but to operating through the ether in ways that involve astral travel, all the way up to bilocation if you continue through the end result of these classes. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It starts with lucid dreaming and goes all the way up into astral projection at some point. And along the way, we activate a lot of gifts like channeling and mediumship, which we did in the last month in our channeling and mediumship courses. Yeah, and the classes on the Akasha are Friday the 28th and Monday the 31st. Just for those of you who know, we were initially going to do the meet on Friday, but I'm going to be at Camp I Am Love in Idaho, which you're welcome to join me for, by the way. It's going to be a wonderful retreat where we're going to be teaching a lot about I Am classes. There's 4 I Am classes. There's 1 channeling. That's just my part of the retreat. There's individual sessions, which those are unfortunately already full. But it's going to be a beautiful journey, and you're going to have access to a lot of things like shamanic journeying and campsite healings and so much more. I hear someone's coming in for sound bath. It's going to be a lot of fun if you want to join me in Idaho on August the 4th through the 8th. What else can I tell you? Just adjusting some of my screen here because I need to pull up the question and answer section before we get started. For Zoom, for operating it, I can see, oh, you can't hear me? If you can't hear me, you might want to, reset some of your audio, make sure that your speakers are working properly. Hopefully everyone else can hear me. We'll do a quick sound check. If not, it's your end. It looks like the majority of people can hear fine. Management's saying it's fine. He's listening in as well. If you have any questions, you can message management from writing the chat or private message. Try to keep it to, if you have technical issues, messaging him, because I will get distracted and misses a lot of material. For operating the Zoom software, it looks like all of you are doing fine. Many of you who are in this class have done this with me before, so I'm not going to get into a lot of detail with that. But yeah, you can find your chat, you can have your questions and answers, and go ahead and start loading it up. It's very helpful to have as many questions in the Q&A folder, which is down in the bottom up underneath my face here. You'll see it says Q&A. That's where you put your questions. Once we get to stage 2 of the class, you can start asking questions in the chat, and then I'll be able to follow you. But prior to hour 2 of the class, I will not be able to follow you in Q&A, so it would be best to keep it in the questions and answers section. Hour 1 is just going to be me going over the majority of the material. We're going to be teaching a lot about certain source tones that I've been taught since around age 6 that allowed me to open up my third eye a lot more, and not just having it open, but traveling through the ether, working through the Akasha. This is a preparation for all of that. So these symbols can activate that in you as well, just so that you know what you're getting into. We're going to be talking about those symbols and the tones that are associated with them, the elements that are associated with them. But primarily, we're going to be talking about the basics of how to open, and then the heavy stuff. And then I'm going to begin to bring you guys on screen if you wish. That will be around 6 o'clock or so in the class, 6:05, 6:10 in the class. I am working through a throat chakra blockage, doing a little bit of coughing, got my water right here. So hopefully I will be able to just kind of go through, because I'm at the tail end of some bronchitis, but doing a lot better. At least I can speak. Right before the last class, I had some laryngitis issues, I remember. Someone said, I've been looking forward to this class for weeks. Many of you guys who are opening the third eye are also realizing that there is a direct connection to the throat chakra. You know, yes, that is absolutely true. And you have to open it and keep it clear at all times. So a lot of you who were selected for this class, I did personally select a lot of people who have alchemy in their backgrounds for a reason, because I knew that you are in that soul group of beings who will be most affected by this work and have so much success with the utilization of these tools. But you need to keep your throat chakra open at all times, because the throat chakra is a direct link to the third eye and the crown for those of you who are from that soul group whose primary element is ether. So we're going to be working with elements, particularly ether-based elements, but all alchemy elements in combinations with source tones that I was taught from around age 6, in combination with sacred alchemy symbology that has been modified. So it's not all standard alchemy. These symbols, some of them you will recognize, some of them you will not. Some of these symbols that I'm going to be teaching you today to open the third eye are so ancient that it's some of the oldest alchemy symbols that is on that would be currently on Earth. So these are not modern in that way. So you'll enjoy it, because some of these symbols you probably have not seen before. All right. What else do I need to tell you about Zoom? Nothing. I don't think there's any you understand the Q&A. Oh, part 2 of the class. If you want to come on screen to ask me your question, there is an option that says raise hand. When you click on that option, it kind of puts you in line, and I just pick them, pick people to come on screen with me. One behind the other. There's the order, whichever one I see first is who I choose. I have no, it's not like channelings where the guides pick. I just pick whoever's first. So it might be good for you to start raising your hands now if you know that you're going to want to practice some of these techniques or ask questions about things that are relevant to the class, or questions about some of the topics covered in the class, that you might want to go ahead and start clicking the raise hand feature now so that you can line up for that and get your chance to be on screen. If you don't want to go on screen, just put your questions in the questions and answers section. I suggest starting to put them there anyway, and raise your hand if you don't mind either or, because for those of you who I don't get a chance to pull on screen for part 2 of the class, I'll be just answering the questions from the Q&A section directly. So, all right, let me put my computer screen out of the way so that I can pull up my laptop and get my notes going. Where do we want to start? Let's start with the basics. Step 1 in opening the third eye is always silencing the mind. For those of you who can have the ability to open the third eye, which are a lot of people in this class, you will notice that your mind will be an instantaneous distraction pretty much at all times. And this is why I explain to people that it is important to meditate and become a practice meditator. You don't have to delve deeply into a spiritual practice, but it is helpful, like incredibly helpful. So cultivate silence of your mind. For those of you who cannot meditate, or you feel that you cannot, I have a belief that everyone can. If you've tried silent meditation, which is the best, and it doesn't work, you can use specific techniques to be able to meditate at least 20 minutes a day when you're beginning this process, following this course material to open your third eye. You can begin by listening to binaural beats and isochronic tones. I did not begin in silent meditation. My guides were having angelic presences sing to me. So it was a beautiful way to sink out of the mind easily, because when you hear angels, it's, you stop thinking about anything in the third dimension. So you can actually ask for that. You can operate in the hypnagogic state. That is the state in between sleeping and waking. A lot of you have heard me talk about that. For those of you who are returning from the channeling classes, we talked about that considerably. You can do that as a way to meditate as well. So basically speaking, when you are tapping into the hypnagogic space, you want to set your intention as one of being, I'd like to open my third eye, and here's why. Not just, I want to open my third eye. My intention is to open my third eye. That's not the intention that you're going to be meditating upon over and over as you slip into sleep or meditation from the hypnagogic space. But I'd like to open my third eye because. So your intention followed by a deeper why. Why do you want to do it? Because the guides that you're going to be accessing from your higher self, the angelics that you're going to be accessing from your soul group, particularly Archangel Raziel, which I strongly recommend calling upon when you begin to open your third eye and work in with these specific tools. That's the first thing that came to me, by the way, and he is the being who gave me these tools. So not only just working with the angelics, but you are working with masters of the Akasha. Raziel, for instance, is a being that likes to understand intention, because when you're opening the third eye to get into the ether, you're going to be seeing auras, chakras, you're going to be seeing the ether in all forms of ways that you don't understand. And it's helpful to know why you want to do this. Do you have a specific life purpose, feeling state that you're trying to work through? Are you doing it so that you can understand and connect to your higher self? What is your intention? Emotionally and professionally, personally for yourself. Are you trying to connect with guides for a specific reason for your healing? Go very deeply into your intention when you begin when you begin this journey. Someone's asking, what is the ether? That is an element that comes in the fourth dimensional planes of existence. So much like sun and moon, fire, water, wind and air, ether is the element that we don't think about, and it is incredibly important to consider how to operate through the ether. It's basically what makes up space and time. You are star matter is what I was told, when I was 5 years old. The first being that came to me, I said, who am I? And he said, oh, you're star matter. You have the stars. You're from the ether. The ether is space, but it's beyond that. It's the realm that goes in between all other realms. Some people call that the fourth dimension. Yeah. So, yeah, that is what the ether is. But back to the material. You can focus on the binaural beats and isochronic tones specifically before sleep and specifically in meditation. When you're listening to the binaural beats, I do have a favorite channel on YouTube that is free, but you can download their tunes from iTunes, I believe. They do have, my guides are reminding me that they do have an iTunes as well. But yeah, it's called In You Meditation. In as in the letter, you the letter, space, meditation. So that is the one that I like the best, that seems to work for the majority of people who are following this material. Also, with meditation, it doesn't have to be exactly sitting still. It's more about anything that you do that can cause loss of and disconnection and disidentification from the egoic state of the mind. So many people call that the reptilian brain, the lizard brain. I've heard so many different terms for it. That's just hilarious. But when you are having perhaps a focus on an art, sculpting is a really good one. I met a sculptor just yesterday who explained to me the flow of how he opens up his energy through sculpting. Running is a really good activity for that. When you're deep into a sport, is a really good activity when you're focused on something. If you are a musical person, you can take up playing the piano for some people, singing for others. Whatever you do to get you out of that egoic state where the brain is just kind of rambling on and on and on in a non-focused way, and you can get out of here and more into an empty spot. We're not going to focus when opening the third eye on dropping into the heart center as we would with channeling and healing. With the third eye, we're trying to open from the crown, which is a different level of the mind, capital M, not the mind, lowercase m, that represents the egoic nature of the brain, not the left brain. Okay, it's just a different pineal gland activation portion of the brain that can open up your crown chakra. So if you can't meditate, don't worry. Try to focus on Hertz tones, with binaural beats, isochronic tones. Focus on art, sports, etc. Anything that's going to pull you in. Yoga is really good for it. Secondly, the practice of mantras, really, really helpful. I was practicing mantras before I even knew, but just basic ones like hu and hum and ram and om. I knew those at age 6, but I didn't know what it meant until I turned maybe 40, and I'm 42 now. So I've only been really memorizing mantras and utilizing them daily for a couple of years. I really strongly suggest you go deeply into what they mean, interpret what they mean. It's really simple. If you become familiar with mantras and you want to become familiar with mantras, you can type in Bhakti Yoga Mantras in your Google feature, BHAKTI, and pick one which really settles with your heart after following this interpretation, because they will give you the pronunciations and the interpretation. The thing with mantras, though, it is a practice. So it is something that you have to do daily if it's going to work. But the mantras that I'm going to be giving you today are part Sanskrit, part ancient alchemy languages, and just more tonal than anything else, as opposed to full Sanskrit. These are the mantras that I was given before I even knew what the word mantra meant. So some of these tones you'll recognize, some of them you will not, because some of them are from the angelic realms combined with some Sanskrit, the very oldest version of the Sanskrit. What else? So the practice of these mantras with the use of ancient alchemy symbology, and the tones that we'll discuss today, that is going to be what opens up your third eye the most. That's the meat of this material. Why? Because you're trying to activate the ether, which, as we discussed before, which that is the realm of the invisible. So silence is required to have access to dimensions in these realms, because you can't hear what's going on if your mind is still, chattering. You can't hear or see anything when the mind is active. So it's important to silence the mind first and foremost in everything that you do. In this class, start there. Make your meditation a regular practice in whatever benefits you, whatever, if anything. If you have other suggestions that were working for you for meditation, go there. Just find something that works for you. The visions will open up at first, within the use of the ether and operating through the ether once you silence your mind, but they will come very subtly. So it's kind of like a whisper of sound and light. And if your mind is distracted, you will miss the messages completely. If you start to meditate and then something distracts you, initially all of the third eye activations from this class material will occur from the inner eye. It starts in here first. People have the common misconception that everything that you see needs to begin externally, which is the problem with teachings of the third eye. We're going to get into that, and it is going to open you up externally the more you allow these techniques to become a daily practice for at least 30 days. I would like for you to make a commitment to this material and to yourself, okay? Because it's sort of initially when it begins, again, it's not external at first. You won't start seeing auras right away unless you have been practicing this material. You will see flashes like a claircognizance, an inner knowing, and it looks a little bit like, for those of you who remember the old drive-in movies with the screen, it looks kind of like that. Or for those of you who are my age and the teachers in, say, middle school and grade school used to use the big projector screen to flash the lessons on the projector screen. And then it's, okay, here's, I'm from the projector, here is, the first lesson, and then it switches over real quickly to the next. And if you're not paying attention and taking notes, you know how you would get a little agitated with the teacher. Try not to go into that state of agitation if it goes too quickly. There's a fun little way that you can slow it down, but it will start there and it will look just like that, like a drive-in movie screen, like flashes of images. Sometimes they come in order, sometimes they don't. And the sacred symbology from the alchemy symbols that I'll give you today teach you how to open that up in ways that manage that more, the fast and the slow, and kind of, it looks a little jumbled at first and you're not really sure if you're making it up, which is the problem, which we're going to talk about here in a little while. Trust is so important in this process because it starts here, not auras and chakras and astral projection right away. It would be and has been quite common, and it would be common for you to come back to me and say, I'm only getting things that I believe I'm making it up. The moment you incorporate doubt into this practice, everything stops. So I would like for you to work from the frequency of wonder. Wonder is the primary frequency that was taught to me around age 6.5 or so, that allowed me to grow in my spiritual development. Because the more I would wonder about something, not only was it shown to me in a potential path, because every seeing, whether it's seeing the future, seeing auras, seeing potential health problems or health problems that are already there, it is shown to you for a reason, which will activate the frequency of wonder, which is magic. For those of you who read the Course of Miracles and they talk about things like this, miracles are made from that. You create miracles from that frequency of wonder. So I would like for you to stop saying, I might be making it up, or I'm unsure, or I don't know. We'll talk about that in a few minutes when we talk about self-inquiry. But it's okay to be inquiring of your higher self. It is not okay to doubt what you are being shown, what you are seeing, feeling, knowing, hearing, because for those of you who have many other gifts, which I believe that a lot of you do, you're not just going to see. It may start out with a knowingness that you need to build from there. So when you begin to incorporate these tools, if you don't see anything right away, inquire with your higher self in a way where you ask for knowingness. If you don't get a knowingness of something, inquire to your higher self in a way where you would ask to feel the answer. If you begin to connect with your higher self using these tools, and then you don't know or feel, then you would go towards clairaudience and ask, I would like to hear this answer telepathically. Now, for those of you who took my channeling classes, I noticed some of you are here, a lot of you are here, and a lot of you operate in telepathy. That may come first. If another degree of your extrasensory abilities comes before the seeing, please don't get frustrated and push it aside, because that would be similar to saying, I'm in a buffet of food. I'm going out to a restaurant, and I'm going to ask for the dessert before I ask for the salad. Most people will go in a certain order, and the order for some of you may be the salad. The order for some of you may be the meat. It may be, the dessert. It may be, soup. You never know what is going to occur first. So you need to allow the flow of your gifts to come in naturally, as opposed to restricting yourself by saying, well, I only want it in this way. It's important to allow that flow. What if you already have a meditation practice? Continue your meditation practice and go deeper with the use of these symbologies. Is this similar to shamanic journeying? Yes, this is the beginning stages of shamanic journeying. Surprise. Everything that was taught to me in a specific order, and now these classes are teaching it to you in a specific order. And this is the beginning. Well, actually, channeling was the beginning, but this is stage 2. Let's see what's next. Step 2 from the basic level is to hone your intuition and then learn how to trust it. Okay, and we've already discussed that a little bit with trust and how important it is not to doubt. How do you do that? By activating your third eye, again, with the frequency of wonder. I would like for you to get used to how wonder feels when you are operating in this material, as opposed to saying, oh, this won't work, or going into doubt. Question that. Wonder is not positive or negative. It just is when it begins. Wonder is like, I don't know if this will work. I don't know if these techniques will work, but I wonder how it would feel if they were working. What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would that be like? That's wonder, when you're able to step into yourself in a way that you stop questioning in any negative form that involves doubt. That's wonder. You're just saying, I wonder if, and if it could be possible, what would that look like and feel like for me personally? Then your imagination starts. When you activate your imagination, that's when the third eye begins to open. So you do this by connecting to your higher self first in meditation. We discussed that a little bit, but now I would like to go into how to incorporate that in the daily activities of your life, because operating in the now and paying attention to the synchronicities, especially once you've been operating in the hypnagogic stage and asking your guides to open your third eye, you're going to get a lot of your answers in your moments in your daily life. So please don't consider that these practices that we're going to share today will strictly be involved in meditations, lucid dreaming, specific practices where no one else will be around. We're going to do a lot of that, but once you do that, please don't segregate your third dimensional life in a way where you say, this is third dimensional, I've got to go to work, and there's going to be no third eye activity over here because I'm in my, logical brain, I'm in that part of my brain right now, therefore I'm not open to what's going on. Many of you have a frequency where you kind of just shut off that part of your brain and you go into the 3D and you're like, well, I'm in my job now, or I'm playing with my kids now, or I'm visiting my mother-in-law now and she's pretty strict and religious, or whatever the case is. I would like for you to keep this turned on at all times and stop being afraid of looking weird. What other people perceive about you is none of your business. For those of you who follow ACIM, the Course in Miracles, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I teach these things, but taking things personally is one of the hardest stages in my life. So while I say this, my inner child is going, yeah, I'm not perfect. Moving on, learn self-inquiry in a very deep way, okay? I'm going to give you some hard course material. This is your homework. Read Be As You Are by Ramana Maharshi, which by the way, we're channeling next week on the weekend. Go straight to the middle of the book. Don't read the beginning. That's his hardest course material. And if you start there, you may feel inclined to never pick up the book again because it's difficult. Don't go to the end because that's easy peasy. Go to the middle. The book is called Be As You Are by Ramana Maharshi, and one of his biggest devotees and disciples decided to write about all of his discourses because he was such a humble guy that he didn't prefer people calling him a guru. So, but he taught something called self-inquiry, which is strongly a part of this course material. I strongly urge you to follow his practice of self-inquiry. It's been the most amazing thing that I have read in my entire life, and that I don't put that mildly. Would you mind spelling his name? Ramana, R-A-M-A-N-A, Maharshi, M-A-H-A-R-S-H-I. Got it? Yeah, Be As You Are. Go straight to the middle of the book where he discusses self-inquiry and read it all the way through. Okay, so self-inquiry also can be done by asking your guides and spelling out your intention in every moment. Okay, in every moment of your day, you're thinking about, what is my true intention? The way that I inquire in this way, I will connect to my higher self, talk to my higher self, and just say, what is my highest and best path in this moment? That is question number one for my personal self-inquiry. Question number two is, what is my true divine nature in this moment? When you ask that question in self-inquiry, when you're going through these practices, what it does is it connects you not only to your highest and best path, but when you ask, what is my true divine nature, you're connecting more to what you really want as a manifester, okay? And then you can start to ask more specifically, along the way, I'd like to connect to my higher self, and I would like a sign in this specific way. You need to get very specific when it comes to self-inquiry for opening the third eye. So when I first began self-inquiry for opening the third eye, I didn't know what it was. My guides didn't tell me it was self-inquiry. I learned that from Ramana Maharshi. But what they told me was it was just connecting to the higher self, was what was told and expressed. And they began to give me certain exercises which helped me connect. And those were the first, what was the first question? It is, what is in my highest and best right now? So for whatever I'm experiencing, I just say that all the time. What is in my highest and best? And what is my true divine nature in this moment? And I always add in this moment or in the now, because everything that is relevant when operating through the ether involves operating in the now. So when I get incredibly distracted in my mind, I just kind of stop. You know how you're kind of wandering and stuck in that part of your brain throughout your day? Maybe you were thinking about doing something and you get up from what you're doing, say you're working, and you get up and you kind of wander into the kitchen and you were going to eat something, but you have no idea what. I know so many of you are going to identify with this, because when you're operating in the ether, you don't have a really strong sense of self meaning lowercase s, ego. You're just kind of operating in what I call the flow of the ether. So Yeah. Again, I'm going to repeat these questions because those of you who are asking, and please, for people who are missing it, and if you notice that they miss it, so that I don't have to repeat, can you guys type it in chat? But it is, what is in my highest and best in this moment or in the now, whatever the case may be. And the second question is, what is my true divine nature in this moment? So those are the basic questions for self-inquiry in working in the ether that you will start with. The rest will be specific based upon what you're trying to do, what you're trying to know, what you're trying to see. So basically at that point in time, you can change self-inquiry because you will know what's in your highest and best. You will know what your true divine nature is, because all of a sudden then you will feel what your true divine nature is. In that moment, you will be reminded of what your purpose is from the the Christ consciousness state, your Christos consciousness, your divine heart, the heart sutra, whatever you want to call it, because so many humans have different labels for the same thing. If you don't see anyone's questions in the chat, you might want to talk to management about how to work with that. And you'll have the replay available too, guys. So please don't make me repeat, because I'm trying to get through so much material as possible. Thank you so much. Let's see, we're still on number 2. Hang on, let me get back to my notes. Okay, so we discussed that. Learn self-inquiry in both general and specific ways. Trust the answers that you receive. We talked about that a while ago. Activate your lucid dream mind by the use of the symbols that we're about to cover. When you fall asleep at night, and when you are going into the hypnagogic space and you're kind of in between sleeping and waking, try to visualize the symbols that I'm going to show you, memorize them. Some people like to look at them while they're meditating and then close their eyes and sink into a meditation when they're memorizing them. Some people like to put them on index cards and carry them around, and they meditate and then pull out the index card for each symbol and then go into the meditation, or they do that and then let themselves fall asleep. That's been a really strong thing that has helped with my individual teachings, with my one-on-one students. However you want to do it, memorize these symbols, use them all the time, because that is what's going to connect you with what I call spirit school and spirit class. Spirit school is when you fall asleep or when you go into a deeper meditation and all of your guides show up. These symbols activate that for you, which will activate your third eye during those moments lucidly, both for sleeping and meditation, and during conscious waking moments of your day. That's going to carry over thereafter, okay? So these symbols are very, very important. This is, how I got really used to using my third eye, not just upon demand, but at all times. So when you visualize these symbols while falling asleep and while you're getting ready to meditate, set an intention during the visualization. We've just discussed how to self-inquire and set intentions. Record your results. Starting around age 7, I began to journal. My parents didn't know what it was, and I would hide them because I had no idea if they were going to understand some of the things that my angelic presences were giving to me. But I called it my accountability journal, and I call it that to this day, even though I don't use them any longer. But when I was learning as a child, I created what's called the accountability journal, so that when I came out of meditation or when I came out of lucid dreaming, I would record the results instantaneously. So for those of you who activate through lucid dreams and then you wake up and you have a problem remembering what you get during spirit school or spirit class, spirit school being the time when all guides show up, many, many guides, specifically whoever you ask will show up. If not, ones will show up that are most relevant for your journey and for your education spiritually. Spirit school, spirit class is specifically for you. So when you set your intention and self-inquiry to go to spirit class, that's one-on-one, okay? So that would be your dominant higher self. And you can get so specific in your self-inquiry. I do this all the time. You can ask for whatever specific guides are most relevant, or you can say, I want this specific guide. When I want to work with Yeshua, I will say my intention is to connect with Yeshua in spirit class. And sometimes I shorten it and say, I'm connecting with Yeshua in spirit class, or I get real short if I'm tired and just say Yeshua spirit class. over and over and over again until I fall asleep or go into meditation, and it becomes its own mantra, and it will have the same effects as holy mantras do. It will pull you into whatever your desire is that's most relevant in that moment, and that specific being will begin to teach you one-on-one. If you ask for spirit school, you will get whoever is relevant. So when I asked for spirit school, the first time I asked for that, I asked my guides to go into spirit school with all of my angels. And I said all, because I'm kind of like that. It's kind of go big or go home with me. So I said, I want to speak to all of my angels. And Yeshua came in and said, are you sure? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 6 years old. How many can there be? 10? No. Keep in mind that when you open a Pandora's box, which is what I call spirit school, that's what you're doing with all this material, you cannot close it. So if you have fear, I urge you emotionally to sit with that fear, because you are going to see things in spirit school when you allow the intention of connecting to spirit school. So many beings are going to come that are most relevant. Some of them you will have no point of reference that your human brain can define. Okay, so if you begin to get afraid, it might be good to back up a little bit and use some of the protection alchemy symbols that we will discuss today. And then you will feel safer again, and then you proceed after having used that particular symbol, okay? You are opening a giant Pandora's box. For those of you who I personally selected for this class, I warned you for that in advance. So if you are scared, you remember my motto in the channeling classes, don't freak out. Let that be your motto now as well. Okay, so keep the accountability journal. Back to that. Sorry, I'm jumping around so much, but this is really a lot of material. When you come out of spirit school, spirit class, whatever your intention is from the hypnagogic space or the meditative place, you want to open up your accountability journal and write in it. If you sleep like a log like I do, and you don't want to write when you get up because you're too groggy from having been operating in the ether, then you want to just pull out your phone. I do that a lot and just hit the voice memo section. I have a lot of voice memos of important things that my guides say, and then I listen to them later in the day, my lunch break, whatever, and then I go write them in my accountability journal if need be. These days, my accountability journal is like this. You will get to the point where you don't need it anymore. What else? So start an accountability journal, record the results, because of your ego mind trying to doubt everything. You will want to go back to that when you try to tell yourself it isn't working. And also when you remember what's working by reading the accountability journal, which I'm going to ask you to do at least twice a month, bi-weekly. I want you to read what you discovered, because when you read this journal, you're going to begin to connect the dots of what's actually working for you along the way. We tend to get lost in the messages and then forget that we've made so much progress. We'll have this wow message the next day, and then some hard third dimensional thing happens the day thereafter. We get caught up in it and scared and stuck in our ego brain, and we forgot that we had a really strong, almost miraculous event happen the day before. The accountability journal reminds us of how far we've come and where we're going. What else? Opening the throat chakra first with the sacred chants that I'm going to be discussing today, and the symbology is definitely, as we discuss, a part of it. The throat chakra, keeping that clear, is going to be really important in the frequency management of opening your third eye and keeping it open. Okay, now we're going to discuss a little bit more of the specific techniques that we'll be using in this class with the symbols. So one thing that I really like to do, that I was taught around age 8 or so, is that when I meditate, I like to do it under the moonlight or the sunlight. There's something about moonlight, when you meditate under the moonlight during self-inquiry and connection to your higher self. Moonlight is ether. It is the closest thing that you're going to get to ether before actually opening your third eye. So when you're connecting to the energy of ether, this will help you get used to the planes of existence utilized during clairvoyance, okay? And sun gazing. Let's talk about how to meditate with the sun. Not only is it very nourishing and lifts your frequency the moment you do it, if it's properly done right before the sun rises, or right during or after the sun's setting, it's very important to do it only then, because the sun can be incredibly bright and it can damage your eyes. So there's my disclaimer. Be cautious about sun gazing and do your research, and do it only during those times. Let's see, what else? Okay, Visualization techniques. When you are learning to visualize through the ether, I would like for you to visualize and focus on the space between things. So this is how I first began to see auras as a child, when I was practicing making them bigger and expanding them and really getting used to what I was seeing. What Archangel Michael told me to do was to focus on all objects that were right there at the edge of the skyline. So that's the tip of trees, birds, right there around their heads and wings, anything that is up against the skyline. That is when you begin to focus on that, you focus on it in a way where you allow your physical eyes to become lazy. The reason why I say that is because seeing through the ether, seeing auras and chakras is a bit like daydreaming. When you get to daydreaming and your eyes kind of go out of focus, I call this, spiritually speaking, like the lazy eye, and you kind of just go, when how if it's really late at night and maybe you have to stop and get some food, on the way home from work, and you're so tired, and someone's in front of you at the grocery store, and you just kind of want them to get out of the way because you're so tired, and maybe there's an object on their shirt that's not really that particularly important, but whatever it is, you're just kind of zoning out, and then before you know it, you see sparks of light coming in your peripheral vision. That is the beginning of seeing through the ether. So take note and pay attention to all of that, because you're probably doing it already. And this is something that I've noticed in opening the third eye, is that most of you are already doing it. You just really don't know what's happening. Yeah, people are talking on chat. Yes, all the time. So basically speaking, when you're activating your third eye, you'll notice more from the peripheral vision than you do right out in front. So when you notice it, don't look at it. That's the key. Don't just focus your eyes in, because the moment the cones in your eyes, the cones and the rods in your eyes readjust to your physical way of seeing, and the moment you look at it, you've lost it. It just kind of goes back into your peripheral vision again, because again, it is out here, not here. So you're training your physical vision to kind of get out of the way, and you're training the cones and rods in your eyes to externally begin to see something different. So when you want to see auras, I would like for you to visualize on seeing in between things, okay? Anytime you get a chance of two objects, I'm being very literal here, like when I am in traffic and I'm driving. This is one of the first things I noticed as a teenager. I didn't really have to I always see the ether, but really seeing auras and recognizing what was the edge of someone's aura versus anything else that was in the ether was very hard for me, because I saw it all and I just didn't quite understand what was what. What is that aura? That aura is blending into something else. So I began to see energy coming out of the tailpipes of cars in front of me, and I begin to see energy coming up from the road. How when it rains and all the things happen where the gases from the asphalt and from the earth come up and mesh with things. I'm not a physicist, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Basically speaking, you see a little bit of a wavery kind of a rainbow, because the oil from the cars are mixing with the water, and then the heat from the asphalt rises, and once gas invokes all that, it changes. That is alchemy, and that is why you can see through the ether in that moment. You're not just seeing the oil, you're seeing the energy of the oil when you see the rainbows in the water coming up from the asphalt. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. And yes, if you are seeing that already when you look at the sky, you are in the beginning stages of seeing through the ether. But now I would like to teach you to differentiate between auras, chakras, and what you're actually seeing. The energy from the ether around a rock versus the energy of the ether around a human is a little bit different, okay? Where do I want to start with that? Start out again by trying to focus your energy on looking at something, letting your physical eyes get lazy, okay? And then I would like for you to, and they do this a lot in Course in Miracles, by the way, or at least my guides told me they did. I haven't read this portion of it yet, but there's something that happens for those of you Course in Miracle fans and readers. There's something that happens in the beginning part of A Course in Miracles that my guides are telling me about, where they focus, say, on an arm or someone's hand, and then they say something. Maybe you can remind me of that. What do they say in that verse? But they're focusing on the arm and the hand, and they're like, I do not recognize this as a hand. I do not recognize this arm. This means nothing to me. Those exercises where you begin to disidentify from what you believe is something or someone. Do you remember what that is?
All meaning is what I assign.
All meaning is what I assign is the phrase from A Course in Miracles that you will say. So when you say, look at your arm, or you look at a car and you say, okay, this is not a car. I do not recognize this as a car. All meaning is what I assign.
This is not what I think it is.
This is not what I think it is. Yes, that's what they say. Thank you for that reminder. I did not read that portion of it, but my guides were saying it was very important as an exercise today for all of you to use. Do this daily over and over and over again. And then you will begin to see the auras and the chakras within people and the auric energy surrounding them. Because from that point in time, you are reminding your eyes that there's something deeper than what they are physically forming. Okay? Because we're looking through the third dimensional reality in a way that goes deeper because we realize that the third dimension is an illusion. Repeat the phrase, all meaning is what I assign. And what was the other one? All meaning is what I assign, and then there was another one. This is not what I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not what I think it is. That's the first one. This is not what I think it is. And when I was doing that, I would just say, this is not a car. This is not what I think it is. This is something I started doing around age 8, when I was sitting there in my parents' cars. This is not a tree. This is not what I think it is. And then when my guides told me they do that in A Course in Miracles, I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. And then I began to say, something different than all meaning is what I assign. That's a Course in Miracles phrase. I think I said, everything is as it truly is. that was what I said around age 8.
And those are early lessons in the workbook.
Yeah, and those are early lessons in the workbook, of the Course in Miracles, by the way. That's like right in the beginning is what
Of the workbook.
Of the workbook for A Course in Miracles. Start there, and then you will notice that everything you see begins to develop. And what I mean by develop is you will say, see a person, and then all of a sudden you will begin to see almost double of them. You will see like a superimposed image of that person's body or energy above, behind, on the side. And then when you begin to see that, you will begin to see splotches of auras. You won't initially, for those of you who haven't been seeing auras from age 5, if you haven't been seeing them from a long time, what happens is balls of energy, some of you call them, for those of you who do a lot of paranormal activity investigation, some of you will call them orbs. This is what you will see when you begin to see through the ether. So you'll see a blotch of energy out here. This is their source energy, and because the majority of humans don't have an integration with their source energy, they believe they're separate. Their auric field, in one level of their auric field, the one that's closest to their body, I call this the life color. You will see it, when you see it in its fullness later, after practicing these exercises, you'll see it in anywhere from about 1/4 inch to 3 inches from the top of their head, about this far, all the way down their shoulders and around down their arms. This is the first places you will see it, as well as around their feet, if you can see their feet. That is source energy, and if they are unintegrated, you won't see it there right away. You will see a projection of their spirit's energy, of their light, kind of over here, and it'll look like a little blob of something that just goes whoop, and if you look at it, it'll go away. So again, look at it only in your periphery. Do not turn around and look at it because it will go away. So those are the first steps in that. There were some other techniques I wanted to share with you in regards to seeing. Okay, I call this the bathroom technique, and basically what you do is you want to go into your bathroom, particularly during the evening or the nighttime, turn on a candle or a nightlight or something dim where you can just see your features, but just barely enough to see like and you can put it anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's backlit or in the front. It doesn't matter where the candle or nightlight is, as long as you can at least see your eyes and your basic features of your nose and mouth and your basic silhouetted features, okay, in the mirror. So you're going to be looking into the mirror with that night light or candle or salt lamp or whatever you have lit in the evening when the sun is down or at nighttime. Close the door, and then I want you to focus on a specific area of your body, and I want you to change the focus a lot. So in the first stage of the exercise, you're going to try right here, because this is the most important place to look, is in the center of someone's body. Doesn't always work out that way. Many of my students had to switch to the shoulder right here, one of the ears at the very top, or the left or right side of the head. The heart center doesn't seem to be a common place that works. I've tried it, and my students have tried it, but those are the areas that you're going to switch to. Trying first here, then one of the shoulders, then one of the ears, and then the other top lobe of the ear, top of the head, left part of the head, right part of the head. These are the places that you're going to focus on most. So go through the daydream exercise again. Let your physical eyes fade off like you're getting ready to fall asleep. Okay, while focusing on that one area. Then what's going to happen is the person's source energy from their life color is going to show up in a different area. So this is like the grocery store exercise that I explained a while ago. Or you're going to start to see all the other energies around them that might not be them, but perhaps they might be guardians, and you might see a flash of an orb that isn't. If it's moving, and you're looking at yourself, or you're looking at another person in this way, because you don't have to just do it in the mirror towards yourself. If you're looking at someone else, you might see a flash of something or other orbs that are further away in the room. Those are generally watchers, spirit guides, ancestors, extraterrestrial beings, things of that nature, and they will flash in and out at first, and you will see that for yourself as well. If you see that, you're really connecting, but first you may not see that. You'll just see a blob of something. Don't focus on it. Switch your focus from your physical eyes at that point. Say if you're here, switch it to here, and then it's going to show up somewhere else. And how you know that it's accurate is it'll be the same shape of that blob or orb, and it will likely be the same color. And what you want to do is you want to keep connecting, here, and then you can change it to here. You can go here, you can go here. But I like to go from the left all the way to the right. And then once if I start out this being my primary focus point, I start here, and then I'll go to here, and then I'll go to here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and see if I can begin to connect all of the orbs or blobs, whatever you want to call it, all of the energy presences, because after you begin to do this connection from here in the beginning, then here, and then all the way around, and then here, and then here, and then all the way around, basically speaking, you are beginning to connect the dots of the energy fields. I know this is a very basic exercise, but it is really, really important, okay? Let's see. What else? Oh, and it's the same thing for if you are into a lot of frequency management techniques like I am, and you like to do your cleansing rituals in the bathtub. Get in the bathtub, relax, put your feet up, put a candle in there, in the bathroom anywhere. Please don't burn yourself, but put it somewhere a little bit further away from you. Prop your feet up, get comfortable, and do the same thing, except focus just on your feet, and say if, I'm not going to show you my feet, but say if this is your foot in front of you, okay, I want you to start on the left side of your foot at the heel, and then go to the middle of your foot on the left side, go to the top of your feet and let that be a focal point, go to the right side of your feet, back down to the bottom right side of your heel, and try to connect the dots. Eventually, the more you do that from left to right to left, you don't have to start in the center like I advised you to do when you're looking at your whole body. But with the feet, you just go left to right to left, and then keep doing that over and over again, and then everything will begin to connect, and you will be seeing your own aura. It's a really, really good technique that a lot of my beginning students use. What else? Let's get to some of the more basic things now that we've discussed some really hard things. Manage your circadian rhythms appropriately. This is done by setting a reverent space for sleep. We discussed that in Channeling 101 to 401 in those classes. Meditate. Managing your circadian rhythms does involve meditation before sleep. Ground, cleanse your space. If you like sage, that's a really good way, whatever particular techniques you have to cleanse your sleep space. Make sure that your sleep space is free of Wi-Fi frequencies, TV, etc. I like to turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone if I'm going to keep it in my room because it does wake me up. And if you're awakened again and again and again and again, you will begin to lose your connection to the ether. If you're not, highly seasoned with it, you will begin to lose your connection to the ether. For those of you who like to watch TV and play with your phones before bed, please put them away at least an hour before your bedtime. What's next? Watching your frequency at all times, especially with food and drink. Due to its impact on the pineal gland, which is really important to keep clear when you are practicing these exercises, you have to be really responsible with your frequency management. With that being said, I was told to offer you some good foods for opening the third eye. So here's the list of them. They're very short. Black currants, blackberries, eggplant, prunes, papaya, coconut, beets. Things to stay away from: alcohol, coffee, soda, red meat, and there was something else. Just dairy products as a whole, with the exception of eggs. Yeah. Okay, next, for frequency management, make a regular practice of yoga if you are physically able to, even if it's gentle yoga. Someone asked about gluten. Not so much. I really haven't connected much to gluten being a problem with the third eye or not. Believe it or not, it's not. If you are allergic to it, it's a problem. If you do not have a known allergy to it, gluten is not as much of a problem. Something I've just noticed. So back to yoga, try to make a regular practice of it, even if it's just gentle yoga and breath. But if you can get into the asana yoga, the vinyasas, hatha is fine as well, but I really like asana. It appears to be the best, especially certain poses. So the poses that I've noticed is best for opening and keeping the third eye open is the hero, the downward facing dog, the supported shoulder stand, the standing half forward bend, and the child's pose. I really like lazy yoga, so child's pose is wonderful for me. I love it. It also is a release of the throat chakra during the child's pose, so that's like double your effect. I want to discuss a few more basic techniques for opening the third eye that I've been teaching for a long time with my individual students. This is called the breath and color technique. So step one is to breathe a color into your third eye, and I want you to do them with individual colors and try out each of these colors because each of them are really significant in opening the third eye. The top one is indigo, followed by violet, royal blue, sky blue, aquamarine, and green. So pick any of these colors and then focus on allowing your third eye to become a shape. I really like the shape of a circle, and then my third eye begins to move either to the right or to the left. It's going to be up to how you are, and for everyone it's different, but for me it goes to the right. Allow it to move, and when you breathe, exhale that shape around in whatever direction it happens to be going naturally. Again, for me, it's to the right, it's clockwise. And how fast or how slow is up to you. If you're one of those go big or go home people, move it pretty fast. If you just want to calm down and open it up slowly, then move that shape, that colorful indigo shape around really slowly, but allow it to be with your exhaled breath. Again, I find that a circle works best in the shape, but you want to allow whatever comes to you as being valid for you. Some people say it's a triangle within a circle. Some people say it's a tetrahedron or a hexagon. I've had many people say different things for the shape of the third eye. So whatever comes naturally to you, close your eyes, pull your breath in right to this area, and then allow a shape to form naturally. And just sit here and close your eyes with me for a bit and see what comes up. Now that I've said triangle, now my third eye looks like a triangle. You'll find that you can shift it. So play around with it and see what shape works best for you, what colors work best for you in these techniques, and then expand the shape with your exhaled breath. Watch how it expands and breathe it out and allow it to expand as far into the room as possible. You may sometimes want to pull it out into the whole room. I do that a lot. So expand your third eye with your exhaled breath. Do this daily as often as possible. It is really, really efficient. So the next technique that I use a lot is scent. For those of you who are really clairvoyant, what I've noticed is with the alchemists, they are very sensitive, in the olfactory. So introduce scent, use the following essential oils in your bath, on your body, around your home, in a diffuser or burner. So you can use sandalwood, grapefruit, nutmeg, myrrh, chamomile, and frankincense. Those are the ones that I notice work the most. When I'm particularly wanting to go into an astral travel journey or stepping through the lucid dreaming states, I will burn those oils and diffuse those oils right before bed, or burn some incense, or just put it right here on my neck. When I'm using essential oils to lucid dream, astral travel, or open my third eye further, I put it on my neck, because remember, the throat chakra is the key to opening the third eye. Now, a lot of people know that. I recognized it right away because my guides told me, and I felt my throat chakra being a problem my whole life unless I was incessantly focusing on it. All right, let's continue. Sorry for the disruption. I had to adjust my external microphone because a client couldn't hear me. He had poor hearing, and I turned the gain up, and I think it messed up my settings. So hopefully this fixes the problem. If not, we'll keep going. Let's see. We talked about scent. Okay, here are the basic chants that I've been using since age 6. This is going to be the most important part because when you start doing this, this is what's going to open up your third eye the most. Here are the 2 basic words that I've been using since age 6. One is Toph. So those of you who are familiar with that being, Thoth, it's like, except when I chant it, I will do Tho. So something about the touching the touching your tongue with your teeth just real quickly, and then chanting Tho and in a more of an alto pitch. This is not a real low pitch or a high pitch. It's about a like solar plexus to heart chakra. So that's going to be anywhere from D sharp to F. So this is about a medium range pitch. When you do that 5 times in a row on exhale only, not that you can ever chant on inhale, but what you want to do is just breathe in through your nose, hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then chant Tho. Okay, just like that, Tho, in an alto pitch. And you're going to do that 5 times in a row. And you're going to hold your exhale for as long as possible, breathe back in through your nose, hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then upon the release of the exhale, chant Tho, just like that. So it's Tho, and then hold it for as long as possible. Okay, so I used to do that. My mother was always wondering what I was chanting. That's what it was. If she ever attends these classes, she'll find out. The second one is a higher pitch, and it's going to be more of a third eye pitch between A and B for this pitch, A, B flat, and B particularly. And you're going to chant that 5 times in a row in a higher pitch, and it's May, just M-A, M-A, M-A-Y or M-A. Do that 5 times in the same way. So that's higher, and it's May. Okay, the thing about this particular chanting May is a little bit different, because when you chant Tho, you don't have to worry about your breath or visualizing where it comes into your body or anything like that. You just do it in an alto pitch. With May, you want to do that 5 times in a row, but while you're doing it, I'd like for you to close your eyes and to vibrate the energy of May by breathing it in through your crown chakra. When you inhale, you're just going to imagine it coming through. And you're going to inhale through your head and then exhale and bring the energy through your third eye chakra. And then as it's moving through your third eye chakra, it will settle in the middle of your head where the pineal gland is, kind of right there in the middle of your brain. And then it will exhale back out the crown chakra, out the top of your head. You guys got that? So basically when you're exhaling, all of that May vibration is going to go in that order. It's going to come through here and through your crown chakra. It's going to go to your third eye chakra, then it's going to go to the middle of your head where your pineal gland is, fill that up, and then exhale back out the top through the crown chakra. That connects your crown chakra and activates your pineal gland. If you do this 5 times a day for 30 days, it will change your life. Tho activates your root chakra all the way up to your throat chakra, and then fully activates your third chakra after time 5. So it will start out, you'll feel it in the root chakra, then it'll go to the sacral, then it'll go to, the solar plexus, then the heart, and then the throat. So it'll just go, and on the 5th time that you do it, it will have reached all the chakra systems, and then the final though activates the throat. Then you activate, depending on the crown chakra, by chanting May. So do it in the order, though first, then May. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Does anyone have any questions before I move on to the symbolism? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the symbolism portion of the class. When you first begin to journey with these techniques, I would like for you to start with some symbols. When you begin with your self-inquiry, these are the symbols that I would like for you to visualize in your meditations and in the hypnagogic space as you slip off into sleep. Microphone, hang on. I knew that the moment I started talking about symbolism and chanting that it would pull in some higher self beings that would mess up my my connection to my microphones, and it's happened twice already apparently. Okay, so I'm going to repeat what I was saying. We're moving on to the symbolism and sacred tones portion. This is the most important portion of the entire first hour of our third eye and ether seeing class. So when you first start to do self-inquiry, connect to your higher self, connect to your guides in the hypnagogic space, whether you're using that space to get into sleep or whether you're using that space to get into meditation. When you begin your self-inquiry process, when you're meditating and about to fall asleep, I would like for you to visualize certain symbols. I will not be presenting this in paper form, emailing or reminding anyone of these symbols after class. So if you want to screenshot these symbols, now is your time to do so. If you want to take out your phone and take a picture of these symbols, now is the time to do so. Otherwise, you will not have access to these symbols until after this class is over, when you get your recording next week. Okay, so keep in mind, if you want it sooner, you'll need to be screenshotting or pulling out your phone, and now is your opportunity to go get your phone or your iPad or your camera or your whatever that you want to do, so that I'm not sitting there later going, oh, here it is, hang on, let me get that one again and again and again and again. So here is the first one. This is called the request for communications. So what it means is you're asking to see, hear, and know the divine. You're asking for divine communication with this symbol. Does everyone see it? Hopefully you can. Everyone sees it? Everyone screenshotted it? Give me a yes so we can move on. You got your pictures done? This is the first symbol that I would like for you to meditate upon in your hypnagogic space. Again, this is a symbol alchemically for communication. You are requesting communication from your higher self. This is how you start out in self-inquiry for alchemy and working in the ether. You're opening up to being the communicator. Next symbol, this is called the receiver. This symbol is very, very old. Not many of you will recognize it. What it means is you are requesting permission to receive what you see appropriately. Basically, it's I am now the receiver of this truth. Okay, this is the next symbol that you're going to meditate upon in your journey. Can everyone see it? I'm going to give you a moment to do your screenshots, take pictures. Once everyone begins to give me a yes, then I will proceed. This is the receiver. You're opening up lines not one way, but two ways. Got it? Okay, we got it. Next, this is a fun one. This is called sublimation. This is an alchemy symbol that means raising your vision to a higher status. And the reason why I use this symbol thereafter in the next step in the journey is because you're going to get things that you don't know what it means. So when you raise that symbol of whatever message you're getting onto a higher status, you're bringing your visions out of your ego. So this is pure divine truth, the symbol of sublimation. Can everyone see it? Once you see it, and you appropriately take your screenshots and your pictures, you can start typing yes, and then I will move on to the next symbol. Very good. Okay. Sublimation is really important because you're going to keep your frequency. Yes, this is the third symbol. You're going to keep your frequency high, and in all your meditations, you're going to begin to practice these symbols in this order. Okay? And if you do a full meditation with these symbols in this order every single day for the first 30 days, you want to do them one behind the other. Someone is asking, do we visualize them one time or together? You're not going to remember them right away. So what I suggest is that you screenshot, take pictures, go back over this recording, and then what you do is you want to start writing them down. And what I did as a child was I began to take all them, put them all on a bunch of index cards, and then I taped them together. There are various ways that you can remember them all, but I memorized them. So I began by the first one, the communicator. I became the communicator. I visualized that, and I had a meditation for 30 days. And then I went to the receiver, and I had a meditation for that for 30 days. Then I went to sublimation, and then I had a meditation for that for 30 days. I did them that way at first because I needed to get comfortable with each one of them and how it felt when I visualized, because it pulled me into the ether. I suddenly became an astral traveler. I suddenly began to heal in the ether. I had access to both the Akashic records and the concordant records from that time, and I could heal in them. I could travel and circumvent time by the use of these symbols. When I got to the tail end of all of these that I'm going to show you today, by then it activated every single gift that I had. So this class goes pretty deep. Okay, symbol number 4, this is called the manifestation or the manifester. So once you have lifted your frequency, you've gone through being the communicator, then you're the receiver, then you are into sublimation by raising into the higher planes. You are asking to manifest this into something that you can understand. You've become the manifester with this symbol. You can then heal with this symbol once you're in the ether. You can use this symbol to gain access to Akashic records in a way that, for those of you who are into regression and shamanism, you can change past lifetimes by the use of this symbol. Because when you become the manifester, you're like, oh, I'm seeing this past lifetime flash by, and I don't like that I was killed in that lifetime, so I would like to manifest a different outcome. The manifester, very important for regression, hypnosis. Oh my goodness, it's basically important for quantum healing. It's important for journeying and bilocating. It's important when you want to receive something, but you may not like exactly what you're receiving. So you want to manifest. When you become the manifester, you can change what you're seeing. It's a very important tool. Not a lot of people know about it. Okay. At this point in time, once you begin to do this, you're going to move on to another set of symbols that are very important in alchemy that operate and connect you through the alchemical elements. These elements are earth, sun, air, fire, water, and ether. Ether being the final and most powerful one. Earth being the first one, followed by fire, followed by sun, followed by air, then water, then ether. So let's start with earth. This is going to be something that grounds you at all times and connects you to earth-based visions. The earth element and the earth symbol in alchemy will actually connect you to visions about the past and the future and the present in relation to a human lifetime in the here and now, because earth is all about the third dimensional visions and the now. So if you want to visualize something about yourself right now or in the past or in the very close future, not too far away, but the close future, and close meaning within 2 days to 2 weeks, you want to utilize the symbol of earth. So do you guys understand why you would use this symbol? Do we have any questions about why we use this symbol before I show you? You're good? Say yes if you're good. Type it in. This symbol is called the alchemy cube, and the reason why we invoke it and visualize it is because it invokes the name of truth. And what I mean by the name is your higher self, God within, truth. So the actual tones that are used are Sat Nam, Satnam. When you chant it in your mind or out loud, yes, I want you to chant when you use these tools because it makes them twice as powerful. If you are not a chanter out loud, do it in your mind. Sat Nam, any pitch, preferably lower for earth because earth is third dimensional, but any pitch will work. I really like C, C sharp, D, and D sharp. I like the kind of root chakra to upper solar plexus range for those of you who follow Hertz frequencies. So it sounds like this. Satnam. Just repeat that over and over again while you visualize this. And this will be the specific, this is called the alchemy cube or the alchemist cube. You might want to replicate these yourselves. And if you notice that I put little dots to connect these because I'm not a good artist, if you follow my dots, when you begin to duplicate these symbols, you can just connect them. Okay, if you're not a good artist, I'm not, so I create dots when I created these symbols. My guides taught me them by connecting the dots. So again, this symbol represents the earth element, and its use is for, you want it higher? Okay, can everybody see it now? Is this a good position? No? Okay. Up, higher, 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 higher. Okay, up, there. Okay, is this good? The tone is Sat Nam. The pitch is between C and D sharp. The element is earth. The meaning is invoking the name of truth, capital T, not relative truth. And the symbol is called the alchemy cube or the alchemist cube. You want to do that again because you're connecting with the past, the present, or immediate future, 2 days to 2 weeks for yourself or another person. So this is straight up clairvoyance in the here and now. You do not have to write the Satnam on the shape, and that goes for the rest of the symbols as well. I put it there for you, for your point of reference. You don't have to write anything on these shapes. It's just important that you chant it either in your mind or out loud while you visualize it, because the combinations of light and sound is the key to fully opening up your presence in the ether. Okay? Is it related to the cube of space from the Kabbalah? The original Kabbalah, yes, but it has switched a lot since then, and people try to modify it and make it more modern. This is the original one, okay? Very, very old. So the next shape is coming from the element of fire. It is the star tetrahedron. Again, star tetrahedron. Spelled Tetrahedron. And the mantra that I use is hum, Hum, me, long E, M-E-E, hum, hum me, hum. Okay, so it is, for the fire element, it is between the solar plexus and the heart chakra. So that's going to be around D sharp to E. So that's around that range. And you just chant it and it sounds like this. Hum me, hum. Notice how this one is more powerful? As we go along in these elements and symbols, you're going to recognize that they're going to become more and more powerful. You notice how you feel when I chant that? When you chant it, you're going to feel even better. When you learn these things, it is going to change your lives. Trust me on that. So hum me, hum. And what it means is we are God. So it's connecting you to the fact that you are source. It's one of the most powerful symbols today. I do chant them one at a time so that I can get used to them. When I was a child, that's what I did. And I got used to drawing them as well, because for some reason, learning to draw them really activated me as well. Once I learned to draw them, I would chant them one at a time. I did end up putting the words on here just like this and looking at them while I was chanting because I was a kid and I was just following what my advice was, you know, from my guides. And they're like, you need to see the letters, and a visual person will need to see the letters on the symbol. Not that you have to. Once you get used to it, it doesn't need to be there. But it activates the element of fire, and within the element of fire, you're activating your power as a manifester and your power to trust what you're getting. You're activating more of the action part of your clairvoyance. Okay, so this is your empowerment. Hopefully everyone can see it. Please let me know if I need to move it up or down. Up, Are we good? Up. That's good. Okay. Too high? Okay. How's that? Good? Okay. Star tetrahedron, element of fire, hum me hum, we are God is the meaning. It is also a really, really cleansing alchemy symbol. I use it when I've got way too much powerful emotions that could possibly hurt someone's feelings. So it's good for emotional cleansing as well. All right. Got it? Once everybody's got a screenshot and a picture of it, I will release and go on to the next. We're good? Okay. Moving on to the next, this is the element of sun. Yes, it is different. In alchemy, we call this soul, the element of SOL, soul. It is called the eye of alchemy, and it is really powerful, and it activates the Christ center, the Christos consciousness, the heart sutra, the divine heart center, whatever you want to call it. This is everything in humanity. So this is a very, very important one. It operates between F and F sharp. Okay, so it is kind of a higher pitched one. The tones are, here's the first tone. You might want to write this down. Someone's asking how long should we sit with each one? As long as you can. When I was a kid, I could only do it for 5 minutes, and that's how important that's how powerful it was. I only had 5 minutes, but I made the best of it. I did it before school, before my parents could wake up and think that I was weird. So it's kind of a hard one to draw. That's why I had a lot of dots in this symbol. So connect the dots first before you try to draw this symbol. It's a bunch of circles connected together. And in the center, it looks like the eye of Ra. It actually has the word Ram in it because I come from a certain soul group that is in one of my fractals of my divinity. I connect strongly to Horus and Ra and the soul group called Ra. This is the same group that created the law of one. They are a very powerful group of soul beings who created all of the universal laws. So basically, when I was taught this, it connects that soul group. It connects me to that soul group, which connects me deeper into my divine heart center. So it's really important. It's called the eye of alchemy. The meaning of the meaning of the source tones in this symbol directly is invoking immortal light. I knew you would love that. Again, the meaning of this symbol is invoking immortal light. So in this, you're opening up not just your third eye, but all of the visions of light within you, source within you from all of time. So this is a particular symbol that helps you bilocate and astral travel even deeper. So this helps you circumvent time. The mantra, I have not expressed it yet. It operates in 3. You'll notice how all of the mantras operate in 3. There are 3 symbols in each of them. Notice there are also 3 combinations of within each of these symbols. There are combinations of 3. Notice 3 is very important in everything here. Okay, so the first one is NRG, and it sounds like So just when you sing it as Notice my overtone? It took me 41 years to learn how to overtone. I'm going to teach you how to do it real quick, because if you can get an overtone in this mantra, it will change your life. The spelling is NRG, and it just sounds like So when you chant it, I want you to purse your lips together like you're going to kiss someone or like you're a fish. So just like this. Sorry to look ridiculous. Just like when you go and you want to keep your mouth that way. And then if this is your palate, this is the top of your mouth, this is the bottom of your mouth, you're going to lift your tongue up. This is your tongue, the bottom over here to the tip over here. Can you see me? Pull the tip of your tongue up to the top of your palate. This is the top of your palate, about 1 centimeter behind your front teeth and about 1 centimeter below the roof of your mouth. This is called the sweet spot in chanting and toning for alchemy. So you're going to move that up, okay? And then just leave it there and move it just a little bit. Leave it there for a second, and if you don't feel or hear an overtone, move it a little bit. If you don't feel or hear an overtone, move it a little bit more, and then keep doing this until you feel or hear an overtone, and then hold it right there. The moment you got it, hold it right there. Now, if you're like me and you like to kind of experiment, sometimes you might want to move the overtones, try to get them higher or lower. A high overtone is here, and as you go backwards, they're lower and lower and lower and lower. So how you move your tongue up here determines your pitch of your overtone. So you've got a little overtone chanting in that as well. So the first portion of this toning is NRG. The second one is re, R-E-E. The third one is ram, R-A-M. And again, the pitch is higher. It is between F and F sharp. So here it is. When you hit the M, put your teeth together because that sound of the is going to go up. It's going to go up to the third eye, up to the crown, activate everything, okay? And here it is, Eye of Alchemy. Let me know if I am getting it right in terms of the appropriate up or down in the camera angle so you can take your pictures. Good? Everyone got their pictures? Okay, we just have 3 more. I'm gonna make them real quick, but that was an important one, so it took a long time. Now we're gonna be operating the next symbol through the element of air. This symbol is used for protection when you get scared. And believe me, all of you are gonna get scared at least a time or two. Oh, you missed it? Okay, here it is again. You got it? You got it? Everybody got it? Okay. Moving on to the element of air, which you use when you get scared. You will utilize this symbol because you need to know what protects you. Okay? Yes, it is round in the center, but it's a little bit like an eye. Mine is a little bit of a modification because my guides told me to make it look a little bit more like a third eye. You see that? So it's a circle here, a circle there, okay? And then we have kind of 3 circles here, except the first 2 look like an eye, and then it looks like a pupil in the middle, and then we've got the connection with the lines all the way through. So you can draw that by following my dots. See all my dots? I'm not a good drawer, but I've got dots everywhere so that you can follow, okay? Okay, moving on to the next symbol. It is air. It is for protection. It is to be used in case you get scared. No matter how much of a badass you think you are, yes, I do sometimes curse in these classes, you will sometimes get scared. We are not perfect. Sometimes fear will come up, and this is the symbol that you will use for that through the element of air. And when you use this symbol in your visions, it's important that you focus on your breath, okay? And the shape is called the octahedron. So it's spelled O-C-T-A-H-E-D-R-O-N. And we actually have four portions of this chant. The first one is Om, O-M, or A-U-M, depending upon your culture. The second one is Saha, S-A-H-A. The third one is Nav, N-A-V. The fourth one is Avatu, A-V-A-T-U. And you're going to chant this all together. We're going to go up into the throat chakra for this, because normally when people get scared, the throat chakra shuts down. This is a throat chakra alchemy symbol, okay? So it is going to be going into the pitch of G, all right? So we're going to go there. You got it? It's Om, A-U-M or Om, O-M, Saha, S-A-H-A, Nav, N-A-V is the third one, and the fourth tone is Avatu, A-V-A-T-U. So it's Om Saha Nav Avatu. Other people have better ways of chanting it. This is not my favorite one. Okay, it looks like this. Can everybody see it? And it is what you will use for protection. This is the octahedron, and it comes up for the symbol of air. You're saying for me to go up? Are you good now? Is that lower? Okay. Down, pull back. Okay. To the left. Okay. To your left. Okay. Gotta love these webinar classes when the camera, I need a bigger camera, maybe something like that. Is that good? Okay, I'm gonna give everybody a chance to screenshot, take their pictures, get a look at it. Air, Om Saha Nav Avatu. Okay, we're good. Moving on to the final 2. We have the symbol of water. We're now going up into the actual third eye. Good times. And the symbol for that is not ether, it's actually water. Water is what you need to activate the third eye. Drink more water, cleanse with more water, and focus on this water elemental symbol. It is called the icosahedron, Icosahedron. Okay, and the tones within it are E, and then NRG. E, long E, and then NRG. You're going into the pitch of A at this point, A to A sharp, and it sounds like this. Okay. The meaning behind the tones and the symbol is invoking the eternal eye of God. So at this is why I called my class the all-seeing eye. This is it, invoking the eternal eye of God. This causes you to recognize your immortality as a being, and it completely invokes the I am in you, which is the key to opening through the ether. So it's the icosahedron. Hopefully you will be able to see it. Let me know if I need to go up or down. Up, okay. Let me know if I need to move it left or right, up or down. We good? Please take your pictures, and once you are good with it and you have a good view of this symbol, I will go ahead and move on to the final one of the class before we take your questions. All right, done? All right, final symbol and the most important one. Complicated at that. It looks like three eyes all drawn together, and I'm a terrible artist. So I tried 6 times before I drew this symbol, and it still doesn't look like a very good eye. It is 3 eyes in one. It is called the third eye trinity. It is the most important because it gives you mind, body, and spirit connection and balance so that there is no more duality and so that there is complete immortal oneness within all of you. This connects you to God within you so that you understand everything. This is the full immortality of the mind, body, spirit. It's called the third eye trinity. It activates through the element of ether, and it will activate your pineal gland, your hypothalamus gland, and your pituitary gland, at which point all those 3 things activate together because the who in this symbol represents the hypothalamus gland. The E in this symbol represents the pituitary gland. The in this symbol represents the pineal gland. And when you sing these all together in that order, who, E, those are the tones of this symbol, sang at the pitch of B to C, high C, not low, you will activate your full everything through your third eye because you've activated your crown. So again, balance of mind, body, spirit, third eye trinity, who, E, So it's and you notice how with this, I kind of let it flow together a little bit. You can go down to low C on this too. Okay, so it would be for those of you who prefer the lower pitches, that's low C, or you can do it high C. So it's C is the pitch, and it's amazing, and it's who, E, And now we're going to show you the symbol. I am sorry for my terrible artistry. I really tried. It is can you see it? Can everybody see it? Do I need to pull it up or down or back? Down, okay. Down, okay. Looks awesome, okay. So basically you draw a circle that looks better than mine. If those of you who draw better than monkeys can draw a better circle than I just did. Then you will draw a circle here, kind of that goes all the way to the middle. Then you will draw another circle that kind of connects the top circle and goes through the top of that. Then you will draw 3 circles, top, middle, and bottom. And then you will draw kind of eyelids. I call these half eyes or half moons, one here and one here. It was the most difficult one for me to draw as a child, and apparently still is. I don't need it because crown chakra is my most active. I don't use it as often anymore, so I don't draw it as often anymore. Hopefully everybody's got it. Do you have it? If so, I'll go ahead and we'll move on to the question and answers section.